Librarian here at the Children's Literature Festival. Before I got here, I read a lot of books, trying to get to know authors. And then I didn't get to read any of Allie's books, but once I got to meet her yesterday, it's like, oh, this person's cool. So that you know what that tells you when you meet an author who's super cool and easygoing? They probably write scary horror books.
Probably.
So I had to pick up the first book, and I started reading it last night. I enjoyed it so far.
Good. I'm glad to hear. I mean, if you want to write truly good books, you want them to be enjoyed by everyone, so not just middle schoolers. So I'm glad to hear that you're an adult enjoying it too.
And what's so neat is hearing about your background, your presentation, how you grew up with spooky things, and your family was cool about that.
I put up my Halloween stuff, and I tend to leave it up. I put it up like late September, and then by November 1st, I'm kind of like all Halloweened out. So I switch over to Christmas. So I do have a Christmas side that I really enjoy too.
As you were growing up, you came in the generation after me where you had R.L. Stine and Christopher Pike. I didn't have that. I was reading just like maybe mysteries of Alfred Hitchcock, Nancy Drew.
Yeah. I grew up on R.L. Stine, so I went Goosebumps, and then I went Fear Street, and then Christopher Pike. And I actually used to steal my sister's R.L. Stine and Christopher Pike books because I didn't know if I was allowed to read them or not. So I would sneak into her room when she wasn't home and just borrow them off the shelf. But yeah, I did them, and then I kind of just like they existed, but then after that, I think most people my age, you immediately graduated to Stephen King because the children's literature landscape back then was still, not what it is today.
I like what you do though, is you're filling in these gaps that are there.
I hope so. I mean, I just try to write about things that I enjoyed as a kid. So I was super into cryptids. I wrote the scary cryptid book that I would have wanted to read at that age. I'm writing about, sleep paralysis and sleep demons, like spooky subjects that interested me as a kid. So I gotta imagine that there are some kids out there, who were just like I was.
And cryptids are pretty neat. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest for a little bit, and we always had the Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'm such a Bigfoot girl. I have loved Bigfoot since I was like 10, but he's kind of been, overtaken by Dogman. I'm very into Dogman right now.
Cool. And then also another famous cryptid is the Loch Ness Monster.
The Loch Ness Monster. Yeah, I'm into the Loch Ness Monster lore, and hopefully I'll make it to Scotland someday.
And look forward for a book there. My younger kid is a huge fan of Wednesday Addams.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of neat to
Yeah. I have been a fan of Wednesday, and obviously the Christina Ricci version when I was growing up, but I've been a fan of the Addams Family since I was a kid. I've always looked up to those like ghoulish gothic girls like Wednesday and Lydia Deetz from Beetlejuice. So this was like truly an honor to be able to write, about a character that and especially with Jenna Ortega as the representation for Wednesday this season. It was great.
That's awesome. So of course, I'm in the middle of your first book, and I'll be finishing that, and I'll check out your other books too, especially the Wednesday one. And I'm pretty sure my kid's going to be reading that. He's a heavy reader.
If he's into the Wednesday Addams book, he might want to read Mystery James Digs Her Own Grave because she's my version of Wednesday and Lydia Deetz. So.
Wow, cool. And that's another thing too. As an author, you just can't take your favorite character and write a book.
I did it when I was 9, but I was also 9. Copyrights don't mean anything when you are 9. So I did it when I was 9, and a lot of people write fan fiction, and if that's what it takes to get you started writing, just know that you can't publish it, and just make sure you're not plagiarizing directly, from somebody else's work. Make it clear that it is fan fiction. But
now, as you mentioned in your presentation, unfortunately, you don't have that book you did.
No, I have no idea what happened to it. But my parents did save all of my other writings as a kid. I used an ungodly amount of printer ink, printing like clip art in my stories that were very bad. They didn't have plots, they didn't have motives, but my dad read all of them. My mom helped bind them up in a little binder. So I have a lot of my stories, just not that one that was handwritten.
Well, that's a tip for writers and aspiring writers is save your work. Keep it.
Yeah, save everything, because Mystery James Digs Her Own Grave came after a 7-year-old Post-it note. So you just never know when it is going to become a story.
Interesting. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us and talking to the Pickleball Librarian and our fans.
Thank you, Drew. I appreciate you for having me.
What is that scary noise? We start talking about spooky books and wow.
I don't know. This building is definitely haunted.
Uh-oh, maybe another book idea. Check out Allie Russell's books, and I'm sure you will find them to be Pickleball Librarian approved. I want